Flight attendant Brenda slides a moldy bread roll across seat 12A with a smirk. This should be perfect for someone like you. Maybe you're used to eating scraps anyway. The bread bounces off Damon Washington's lap onto the floor. Around him, other passengers receive fresh meals with apologetic smiles. His tray holds wilted lettuce, congealed sauce, and that unmistakably fuzzy green bread. Brenda's colleague Janet snickers behind her service cart. "Some people just expect too much," she whispers, loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. Damon calmly photographs the moldy meal, timestamp reading 2:47 p.m. His expensive watch remains hidden beneath his crisp shirt sleeve. The Hermes leather briefcase at his feet shows no corporate logos. Teen passenger Maya discreetly starts filming on her phone, catching every degrading moment for her TikTok live stream. Have you ever been served literal garbage while watching others get 5-star treatment and wondered what you'd do if you had the power to change everything? Flight 447 to Chicago. Departure delayed 10 minutes due to catering issues, the pilot announces over the intercom. Brenda rolls her eyes toward Damon. Great. Now we're behind schedule because some people can't appreciate what they're given. 3 rows ahead, she serves the elderly white couple fresh Caesar salad and warm dinner rolls. Her voice transforms into honeyed professionalism. "I'm so sorry for the delay, folks. Let me get you extra bread to make up for it." The couple beams. "You're such a sweetheart, dear." Meanwhile, Janet approaches Damon's row carrying a tray of beverages. She bypasses his raised hand completely, serving the white businessman across the aisle. "Premium coffee, sir? Complimentary for our valued passengers." Damon's throat feels dry. He's been traveling for 6 hours, connecting from his morning flight from Seattle. "Excuse me, could I get some water?" Janet's smile vanishes. "Water service ended 20 minutes ago. You should have asked earlier." The lie hangs in the air. She just served the businessman fresh coffee. Behind them, Maya's live stream attracts viewers. The comment section fills with outrage. "This is 2025, not 1965. Someone record this. What airline is this?" Her viewer count climbs, 847 people watching in real time. Damon methodically documents everything. He photographs the fresh meals around him, captures timestamps, records the stark differences in service. Years of building his company taught him that documentation defeats discrimination in court. His phone buzzes with a text from his assistant. "Reminder, board meeting tomorrow at 8 a.m. Your Delta contract presentation is ready." He silences the phone, slipping it back into his jacket pocket. The corporate logo remains hidden. Brenda returns with dessert service, carrying chocolate cake and fresh fruit. She places generous portions before the white passengers, her voice dripping with false warmth. "Enjoy these complimentary desserts, folks. Delta always takes care of our special guests." When she reaches Damon's row, her entire demeanor shifts. "Dessert costs $15, cash only." The passenger behind Damon, a young white woman, gasps. "Wait, I didn't pay for mine." Brenda's jaw tightens. "Different service class, ma'am. Nothing I can do about company policy." Another lie. Everyone in coach receives identical meal service according to Federal Aviation Administration regulations. Maya zooms her camera, capturing Brenda's discriminatory treatment. Her viewers spike to 1,200. Comments flood the screen. "Get her name. This is illegal. Delta needs to see this." The hashtag Delta discrimination starts trending locally. Damon opens his leather portfolio, revealing neatly organized business documents. His movements are deliberate, professional. He pulls out a gold pen, Mont Blanc, worth more than most people's monthly salary, and begins taking detailed notes. Flight details, DL 447, seat 12A, crew member badge number 3847. Time stamps of each discriminatory act. Witness names and seat numbers. Photo evidence organized chronologically. His business training kicks in. Every successful lawsuit starts with meticulous documentation. "Sir, you need to put that away," Janet snaps, noticing his note-taking. Photography is prohibited during meal service. False again. No such regulation exists. Damon's voice remains steady. I'm documenting my customer experience for quality assurance purposes. Quality assurance? Brenda laughs, returning to collect trays. You're in coach, sir. Maybe lower your expectations. She leans closer, her voice dropping to a whisper meant for nearby passengers to hear. Some people think throwing around big words makes them important, but we see right through it. The racial undertones hit like a slap. Several passengers shift uncomfortably in their seats. Maya's live stream explodes with viewers, 1,800 people now watching. The comments section becomes a rapid-fire stream of support and outrage. Someone help this man! Where is the supervisor? This is disgusting behavior. But Damon doesn't need help. Not yet. He calmly retrieves his phone, scrolling to his contact list. His finger hovers over a name. Richard Chen, VP Regional Operations, Delta Airlines. They've spoken twice this month about WashCorp's corporate travel contracts. Instead, he puts the phone away. Let them dig their own grave deeper. 8 minutes to take off, the pilot announces. Flight attendants, prepare for departure. The pressure builds. Brenda and Janet exchange glances, seemingly satisfied with their treatment of the difficult passenger in 12A. They have no idea they're being watched by nearly 2,000 people online. Maya's heart pounds as she continues filming. She's never witnessed such blatant discrimination. Her generation doesn't tolerate this behavior. Her finger hovers over the Go Live button for her Instagram account, which has 50,000 followers. Damon closes his portfolio and sits back. His expression remains calm, almost serene. To fellow passengers, he appears resigned to the mistreatment. In reality, he's calculating. WashCorp's annual travel budget with Delta, $12.3 million. His personal flight miles this year, 847,000. His company's employee travel program, 2,847 annual bookings. His position on Delta's parent company diversity board, confidential. The numbers tell a story Brenda and Janet can't imagine. Ladies and gentlemen, we're next for takeoff, the pilot announces. Thank you for choosing Delta Airlines. Maya's viewer count hits 2,100. The hashtag #Delta discrimination spreads beyond her local followers. Screenshots circulate on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Social media moves faster than airlines can respond. But Damon Washington moves at the speed of business. And business, he learned long ago, is about timing. The plane begins to taxi toward the runway. In 7 minutes, they'll be airborne. The drama will escalate from there. Because these black stories, these real-life stories of discrimination, don't end with quiet acceptance anymore. They end with accountability. The plane lurches forward, engines powering up for takeoff. Maya's live stream counter flickers, 2,847 viewers and climbing. Her phone battery drops to 23%. This is insane, she whispers to her camera. You guys are witnessing actual discrimination in 2025. I can't believe this is happening. Comments flood her screen faster than she can read them. Call the supervisor. Get his name so people can support his business. This is why I don't fly Delta. Flight Supervisor Carol Martinez emerges from the galley, clipboard in hand. Her navy blazer displays 20 years of service pins. She approaches Damon's row with practiced authority. Sir, I understand there's been some confusion about meal service. Damon looks up from his notes. His voice remains steady, professional. No confusion. I was served moldy food while other passengers received fresh meals. I've documented everything. Carol's smile tightens. She glances at his detailed notes, the organized photos, the time-stamped documentation. Something about his methodical approach unsettles her. Our crew reports you've been disruptive during service, taking unauthorized photos, questioning company policies. I requested edible food and documented the discriminatory treatment I received. Discriminatory? Carol's voice rises slightly. That's a serious accusation, sir. Maya zooms in with her camera. 3,200 viewers now watch this exchange. The hashtag Delta discrimination trends in 3 cities. Ma'am, I have photo evidence of the differential treatment. Damon shows his phone screen displaying the moldy bread next to fresh meals served to white passengers. Carol barely glances at the evidence. Food quality can vary, sir. That doesn't constitute discrimination. The elderly white couple 3 rows ahead turns to watch. The businessman across the aisle pretends to read his magazine while listening intently. Are you suggesting the mold randomly selected only for my meal? Carol's professional mask slips. Look, sir, if you can't appreciate our service standards, perhaps budget airlines would better suit your expectations. The pause before expectations carries an unmistakable implication. Maya's viewers explode with outrage. Her live stream goes viral on TikTok's main feed. Screenshots spread across Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at lightning speed. Damon closes his leather portfolio with deliberate calm. I'd like to speak with your manager. I am the manager for this flight. Carol crosses her arms. And I'm telling you that your behavior is becoming disruptive to other passengers. She's lying again. The Flight Operations Manual requires supervisors to escalate discrimination complaints to ground management. Never dismiss them outright. Then I'd like to file a formal complaint with Delta's Customer Relations Department. Carol's jaw tightens. Sir, we're about to take off. You need to comply with crew instructions or face removal from this aircraft. The threat lands like a bomb. Passengers throughout the cabin turn to stare. The atmosphere shifts from uncomfortable observation to active tension. Maya's heart pounds as she continues filming. 4,100 viewers watch in real time. Her battery drops to 18%. 5 minutes to take off, the pilot announces. Flight attendants, final safety check. Brenda reappears, whispering urgently in Carol's ear. He's been recording everything, taking pictures of crew badges, writing down names. Is that true, sir? Carol demands. Are you recording our crew without permission? I'm documenting my customer experience for quality assurance purposes, which is my legal right under Federal Aviation Administration regulations. Carol doesn't know FAA regulations. She knows company policy, union contracts, and service procedures. Legal rights fall outside her expertise. Well, I'm exercising my authority as flight supervisor to request you delete those photos immediately. On what legal grounds? The question stops Carol cold. She has no legal grounds. Photography isn't prohibited during meal service. Passengers can document their experiences. She's operating on assumption and authority, not law. Sir, you're being uncooperative with crew instructions. Damon remains seated, hands folded. Which specific instruction am I violating? Carol realizes she's trapped herself. She made demands without legal basis, threatened removal without cause, and ignored legitimate discrimination complaints. Everything's being recorded by thousands of witnesses online. Maybe if you showed some appreciation for what you're given instead of complaining all the time, Brenda interjects, you'd have a better flight experience. The racist undertone hits like a sledgehammer. Several passengers gasp audibly. Maya's viewers spike to 5,600. The comment section becomes a fury of support and outrage. This is disgusting. Someone get his back. Where is Delta's corporate office? But Damon doesn't need backup. Not yet. I appreciate quality service. I simply expect the same treatment as other passengers. Well, maybe you should have thought about that before booking a coach, Carol snaps. If you can't afford first class, don't expect first-class treatment. Her words reveal everything. This isn't about meal quality or company policy. This is about assumptions based on appearance, prejudice disguised as procedure. The businessman across the aisle finally speaks up. Excuse me, but I'm in coach 2 and my meal was perfectly fine. Carol spins toward him. Sir, please remain seated and I'm just saying we're all in the same section. We should get the same service. Other passengers murmur agreement. The tide begins shifting. Maya's live stream peaks at 6,800 viewers. Her phone battery hits 15%. Screenshots circulate across social media platforms faster than Delta's public relations team can monitor. 3 minutes to takeoff, the pilot announces. Ground crew, prepare for departure. Carol realizes she's losing control. The passenger won't back down, social media is exploding, and other travelers are taking sides. She needs to end this quickly. Sir, final warning. Comply with crew instructions or security will remove you from this aircraft. What specific instructions am I violating? Carol can't answer because there aren't any. Damon sits quietly, speaks respectfully, and documents legitimate service failures. He's violated no regulations, broken no rules. But Carol doubles down anyway. Johnson, call ground security. We need passenger removal from seat 12A. The radio crackles. Ground security to gate B47, passenger removal request. Maya's viewers react explosively. 7,200 people now watch this corporate discrimination play out in real time. The hashtag had Delta discrimination trends nationally. 2 security officers appear at the aircraft door, walking down the narrow aisle with practiced authority. Their uniforms command instant respect from nervous passengers. Gentlemen, Carol calls out, we have an uncooperative passenger in 12A. Refused to comply with crew instructions, taking unauthorized photos, causing disruptions. The officers approach Damon's row. He remains seated, portfolio closed, hands visible. His calm demeanor contrasts sharply with Carol's frantic energy. Sir, we need you to come with us, the lead officer says. Maya's battery drops to 12%. Her hands shake as she continues filming. Nearly 8,000 people watch this injustice unfold. Damon looks up at the officers with quiet dignity. Officer, before we proceed, may I show you something? His voice carries a subtle authority that makes the lead officer pause. What exactly? Damon reaches slowly into his jacket pocket, careful not to make sudden movements. His fingers close around his business card holder. I think there's been a misunderstanding about who I am. The moment hangs in the cabin air like electricity before lightning strikes. These touching stories of discrimination are about to become life stories of accountability. And Maya's 8,000 viewers are about to witness something unprecedented in airline history. Damon Washington rises from seat 12A with fluid grace. No sudden movements, no aggression, just the quiet confidence of someone accustomed to boardrooms and high-stakes negotiations. His hand emerges from his jacket pocket holding a slim platinum card case. He extracts a single business card with the precision of a surgeon. Officer, I'm Damon Washington, Chief Executive Officer of WashCorp Enterprises. The card passes between them like a lit fuse. The lead security officer examines it closely. Embossed letterhead, premium card stock, corporate seal. His expression shifts from authority to uncertainty. WashCorp, the logistics company? Among other ventures, yes. Carol snatches the card from the officer's hand. Her face drains color as she reads, Damon L. Washington, Chief Executive Officer, Board Member, Transportation Diversity Initiative. The Transportation Diversity Initiative, Delta's parent company oversight board. Maya's live stream explodes. 9,400 viewers watch in stunned silence as the power dynamic inverts completely. Comments flood faster than her phone can display them. Holy shit, he's a CEO! They're so screwed! This is about to get good! Brenda appears behind Carol, reading over her shoulder. Her smugness evaporates instantly. The passenger she served moldy food, the man she insulted about eating scraps, sits on the board that oversees her employer's diversity compliance. Mr. Washington, the security officer says carefully, there seems to have been some confusion. No confusion, officer. I received discriminatory service and documented it thoroughly. My request to file a complaint was met with threats of removal. Damon's voice carries new weight now. The same calm tone, but everyone hears the authority they missed before. Carol scrambles for damage control. Mr. Washington, surely we can resolve this misunderstanding privately. Perhaps an upgrade to first class? The issue isn't my seating class. It's the systematic discrimination your crew exhibited toward a passenger they assumed had no recourse. Maya's battery drops to 8%, but she keeps filming. 10,200 viewers hang on every word. This story is spreading beyond TikTok. Screenshots appear on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Had Delta discrimination trends in 12 states. The elderly couple 3 rows ahead cranes their necks to see. The businessman across the aisle openly stares. Passengers throughout the cabin sense the shift in power. Damon sits back down, his movement deliberate and controlled. Officer, I appreciate your response, but this is now a corporate matter. He pulls out his phone, not to document this time, but to make calls. His fingers scroll through contacts until he finds the name he wants. Richard Chen, VP Regional Operations. I need to speak with Richard immediately. Carol panics. Mr. Washington, please, let's handle this through proper channels. This is the proper channel. Mr. Chen oversees customer experience escalations for corporate accounts. The phone rings twice before connecting. Damon? What's going on? I thought you were flying to Chicago. Richard Chen's voice carries over the speakerphone, audible throughout the cabin. Maya adjusts her angle to catch every word for her 11,000 viewers. I am flying to Chicago, Richard, on Delta Flight 447, and I'm experiencing some service issues that require immediate attention. The pause on the other end speaks volumes. Richard Chen knows Damon Washington's account value, his board position, his influence in corporate circles. What kind of service issues? Discriminatory treatment from crew members, including being served moldy food while other passengers received fresh meals. When I attempted to file a complaint, I was threatened with removal from the aircraft. Jesus, are you serious? Carol frantically signals for Richard to lower his voice, but the damage is done. The entire cabin hears Delta's regional VP express shock at his own crew's behavior. I'm completely serious, Richard. I have photo evidence, witness testimony, and approximately 11,000 people watching this conversation via live stream. Maya's viewer count hits 11,847 as Damon speaks. The number climbs in real time. Live stream? Richard's voice cracks slightly. A fellow passenger has been documenting the entire incident. It's currently trending on social media under the hashtag Delta Discrimination. In Delta's Atlanta headquarters, emergency protocols are activated. Social media monitoring systems flag the trending hashtag. Public relations managers scramble to assess damage. Legal teams prepare for crisis response. Richard Chen's career flashes before his eyes. Damon, what can we do to make this right? The question hangs in the cabin air like smoke. Carol, Brenda, and Janet stand frozen, finally understanding the magnitude of their actions. We'll discuss that momentarily. But first, I want to address something with your crew. Damon stands again, his presence commanding the attention of every passenger. Maya zooms in, capturing this moment for her 12,500 viewers. Ms. Martinez, he addresses Carol directly, you threatened to remove me from this aircraft for documenting discriminatory treatment. Can you explain the legal basis for that threat? Carol's mouth moves silently. She has no legal basis. She acted on assumption and prejudice, not policy or law. Mr. Washington, we were just trying to maintain order. By threatening a paying customer who received demonstrably inferior service based on his appearance. The businessman across the aisle nods visibly. Other passengers murmur agreement. The cabin atmosphere shifts completely. And Ms. Damon glances at Brenda's name tag. Collins, you suggested I'm used to eating scraps. Can you clarify what you meant? Brenda's face goes ashen. Her racist implication, broadcast to thousands of viewers, will follow her forever. I didn't mean... I was just... You served me moldy food while providing fresh meals to white passengers in identical seating. You made degrading comments about my expectations and background. This isn't interpretation, it's documented discrimination. Maya's live stream peaks at 13,200 viewers. The comment section becomes a wall of support and outrage. Get them fired! This man is legendary. CEO energy is unmatched. But Damon isn't finished. He opens his leather portfolio again, revealing documents Maya's camera couldn't see clearly before. Corporate contracts, financial statements, board resolutions. Richard, are you still on the line? Yes, sir. I want you to understand the scope of this situation. WashCorp's annual travel budget with Delta is $12.3 million. We book approximately 2,800 flights annually for our employees. Carol's legs nearly buckle. $12.3 million in annual revenue threatened by her crew's racism. Additionally, our Q4 corporate bookings alone represent $3.1 million in revenue for your Atlanta hub. The financial implications hit Richard Chen like a freight train. Losing WashCorp's account would trigger layoffs, route cancellations, performance reviews that end careers. But more importantly, Damon continues, I serve on the Transportation Diversity Initiative Board that monitors compliance with federal anti-discrimination regulations. This incident violates Title VII of the Civil Rights Act and potentially exposes Delta to federal investigation. The legal implications are worse than the financial ones. Federal investigations mean regulatory oversight, consent decrees, mandatory training programs, executive testimony before Congress. Maya's phone battery hits 5%, but she keeps recording. 14,600 viewers watch this masterclass in corporate accountability. Mr. Washington, Richard's voice carries desperation now. What would you like us to do? Damon glances around the cabin at the passengers who witnessed his humiliation, then at the crew members who delivered it. First, I want a public acknowledgement from your crew that their treatment was inappropriate and discriminatory. Carol steps forward, her voice barely audible. Mr. Washington, on behalf of Delta Airlines, I apologize for the unacceptable treatment you received. Your experience does not reflect our company values. Louder, please, for the passengers and the live stream audience. Carol's second apology carries throughout the cabin, captured clearly by Maya's camera for 15,200 viewers. Ms. Collins? Brenda's apology comes through tears of embarrassment and fear. Her 20-year career hangs by a thread. Mr. Chen, I have additional requirements that we'll discuss privately, but I want your crew and these passengers to understand something important. The cabin falls silent. This incident didn't happen because I'm a CEO. It happened because your employees saw a black man in coach and made assumptions about his worth, his background, his right to equal treatment. His words carry the weight of centuries of discrimination, the pain of every black traveler who endured similar treatment without recourse. Every passenger deserves dignity, regardless of their race, their seating class, or their ability to fight back. That's not just good business. It's basic humanity. Maya's viewers climb towards 16,000. This speech will be quoted, shared, and remembered long after the flight lands. But Damon Washington isn't done yet. He still has cards to play, demands to make, and an entire airline system to reform. The real showdown is just beginning. Richard Chen's voice trembles through the speakerphone. Damon, tell me exactly what you need from us. Maya's phone battery flickers at 3%, but 16,200 viewers remain glued to their screens. This corporate negotiation is about to determine careers, policies, and potentially millions in revenue. Damon pulls out a leather-bound notebook, opening to a page marked Delta Compliance Assessment, Phase 2. His preparation runs deeper than anyone imagined. Richard, I need 5 specific commitments from Delta Airlines, effective immediately. He speaks with the precision of someone who's negotiated billion-dollar contracts. Carol, Brenda, and Janet stand motionless, realizing their actions triggered a corporate earthquake. First commitment: immediate suspension of the crew members involved pending a full HR investigation with external oversight. Done. Richard responds instantly. Carol, Brenda, Janet, you're suspended effectively now. Report to Atlanta headquarters Monday morning. Carol's face crumbles. 20 years of service, destroyed by 30 minutes of prejudice. Brenda stares at the floor, her airline career effectively over. Janet whispers prayers under her breath. Maya captures their devastation for 16,800 viewers. The comment section explodes. Justice served. Actions have consequences. This is what accountability looks like. Second commitment, Damon continues. Delta implements mandatory bias prevention training for all customer-facing employees within 60 days. Not online modules, in-person, 8-hour sessions with certified diversity professionals. Agreed. What's the third requirement? Damon flips to another page of detailed notes. Delta establishes a mystery shopper program specifically targeting service equality across racial demographics. Monthly audits, random routes, detailed reporting. The businessman across the aisle nods approvingly. Other passengers listen intently to this masterclass in corporate reform. Fourth commitment. Delta creates a rapid response system for discrimination complaints. Direct executive hotline, 48-hour investigation timeline, public resolution reporting. Richard Chen realizes each demand addresses systematic problems, not just this incident. Damon's thinking strategically about industry-wide change. And the fifth commitment? Damon's voice carries quiet authority. Delta's CEO issues a public statement acknowledging this incident and announcing the new anti-discrimination initiatives. Full transparency, no corporate spin. The silence stretches across the speakerphone. Maya's viewer count hits 17,500 as corporate America watches accountability in action. Richard, these aren't punitive measures. They're preventive investments that protect Delta from future discrimination lawsuits while improving customer experience for all passengers. The business case resonates. Prevention costs less than litigation. Training costs less than settlements. Reputation management costs less than public relations disasters. I need to conference the legal team, Richard admits. These commitments require board approval. You have 30 minutes while we taxi and take off. WashCorp's contract renewal deadline is Friday. These 5 commitments determine whether we extend our $12.3 million annual agreement. The ultimatum lands like a sledgehammer. Carol realizes her crew's racism might cost Delta their biggest corporate account. Damon opens another section of his portfolio, revealing documents that make Maya's remaining viewers gasp. Federal Aviation Administration complaint forms, partially completed. Additionally, I've prepared formal complaints with the FAA, Department of Transportation, and Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Whether I file these depends on Delta's response in the next 30 minutes. The legal implications multiply exponentially. Federal complaints trigger investigations, regulatory oversight, potential consent decrees that cost millions in compliance monitoring. But there's another consideration, Richard. Damon pulls out his final document, a letter bearing the Transportation Diversity Initiative letterhead. As a board member of the TDI, I'm required to report discrimination incidents involving major carriers to the Department of Transportation. This incident, with 16,000 live stream witnesses, cannot be ignored or minimized. Maya's phone shows 2% battery, but she continues recording. Her viewer count peaks at 17,900 people watching this corporate chess match. Richard's breathing becomes labored over the speakerphone. What happens if we meet all 5 commitments? Simple. This becomes a case study in corporate accountability done right. Delta transforms a discrimination incident into industry leadership on equality initiatives. The carrot follows the stick. Instead of punishment, transformation. Instead of lawsuits, partnership. Our companies continue working together. WashCorp becomes Delta's diversity consulting partner, helping implement these changes across your entire network. Win-win outcome. Carol stares at Damon with newfound understanding. He's not seeking revenge. He's creating systematic change that benefits everyone. Mr. Washington, she interrupts quietly, why are you offering partnership instead of pursuing legal action? Damon closes his portfolio, his expression thoughtful. Because lawsuits punish individuals without fixing systems. I'd rather change an industry than destroy careers. His response resonates through the cabin and across social media. Maya's viewers share clips faster than her phone can track them. Besides, Damon adds with a slight smile, successful businesses create solutions, not problems. The pilot's voice interrupts over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we're cleared for takeoff. Flight attendants, prepare for departure. Richard's voice returns, now carrying conference call audio. Damon, I have our legal team and VP of Human Resources on the line. Good evening, Mr. Washington. A new voice joins. I'm Sarah Mitchell, VP Human Resources. We've reviewed your 5 commitments and accepted them unconditionally. Maya's phone battery hits 1%, but she keeps recording. 18,300 viewers witness this corporate resolution in real time. Additionally, Sarah continues, we're implementing an immediate policy review of all customer service protocols with external civil rights consultants. The CEO will issue a public statement within 24 hours, Richard adds. Full accountability, no deflection. Damon nods approvingly. Sarah, I want these commitments documented in writing and distributed to all Delta employees within 72 hours. Absolutely. We're treating this as a company-wide priority. The businessman across the aisle starts applauding. Other passengers join in, creating a wave of approval throughout the cabin. Maya's live stream captures this unprecedented moment. A discrimination incident transformed into corporate policy reform through strategic negotiation rather than litigation. One final point, Damon adds. I want regular progress reports on implementation, quarterly reviews, measurable outcomes, transparent reporting. Done, Richard responds. Can we schedule monthly check-ins to ensure we're meeting your expectations? The conversation has shifted from crisis management to partnership development. Damon's approach converted conflict into collaboration. Gentlemen, Ms. Mitchell, I appreciate Delta's professional response to this situation. This is how corporate America should handle discrimination: swift accountability, systematic change, transparent reform. Maya's phone dies at 0% battery, but not before her final viewer count reaches 18,847 people. Her live stream has documented one of the most significant corporate accountability moments in airline history. The passengers around Damon look at him with new respect. He faced discrimination with dignity, responded with strategy, and created change through leadership rather than litigation. Carol approaches tentatively. Mr. Washington, I want to personally apologize again. Your handling of this situation taught me more about leadership than 20 years in aviation. Brenda nods through tears. I'm ashamed of my behavior, but grateful you chose education over revenge. Even Janet, who barely spoke throughout the incident, finds her voice. Thank you for showing us a better way to handle conflict. The plane lifts off from Atlanta, carrying passengers who witnessed transformation in real time. But the real work of implementing change is just beginning. Damon Washington has won more than an apology. He's created a template for turning discrimination into systematic reform, proving that strategic thinking can achieve more than legal action. The corporate showdown is over. Now comes the harder work of ensuring lasting change. These life stories of quiet power and strategic thinking are reshaping how American businesses handle discrimination. And it all started with moldy bread in seat 12A. 6 months later, Delta Airlines headquarters buzzes with transformation. The Washington Protocol, as employees now call it, has revolutionized how America's second-largest airline handles discrimination complaints. Every crew member knows the story of Flight 447, the moldy bread, and the CEO who chose reform over revenge. Sarah Mitchell, VP of Human Resources, reviews the quarterly diversity report in her Atlanta office. The numbers tell a remarkable story of systematic change. Customer satisfaction scores among minority passengers, up 34% across all routes. Discrimination complaints, down 67% system-wide. Employee completion rate for bias prevention training, 99.2%. Mystery shopper program results, service equality metrics improved 78%. These aren't just statistics, Sarah tells her team during their Monday morning briefing. These represent real people receiving dignified treatment because one man refused to accept the status quo. The mandatory 8-hour bias training sessions have become industry standard. Other airlines, American, United, Southwest, quietly implemented similar programs after Delta's transformation became a Harvard Business School case study. Dr. Angela Roberts, the certified diversity professional who designed Delta's training curriculum, presents to packed auditoriums across corporate America. Her presentation title, From Moldy Bread to Meaningful Change, How One Incident Transformed an Industry. The Damon Washington case proves that discrimination isn't just morally wrong, it's economically destructive, she explains to executives from Fortune 500 companies. Delta invested $2.8 million in comprehensive reform and saved an estimated $47 million in potential lawsuits, regulatory fines, and lost business. The Mystery Shopper program operates with military precision. Each month, diverse travelers book random flights across Delta's network, documenting service quality through detailed scorecards. Results are published quarterly in transparent public reports. Flight attendant Marcus Thompson, who joined Delta after the reforms, credits the Washington Protocol with creating his positive workplace experience. I've never worked for a company that takes equality this seriously. The training isn't just policy, it's embedded in our culture. Carol Martinez returned to Delta after completing her suspension and attending intensive bias education programs. Now serving as a diversity compliance officer, she speaks candidly about her transformation. That day on Flight 447 was the worst moment of my 20-year career, but it became the catalyst for my personal growth, she admits during a company training session. Mr. Washington showed me that real leadership means creating change, not just demanding apologies. Brenda Collins wasn't as fortunate. Terminated for her discriminatory behavior, she spent months unemployed before finding work with a regional carrier. But even she acknowledges the lesson learned. I let my prejudices control my actions and destroyed my career, she wrote in a public apology letter. Mr. Washington could have sued me personally, but instead he created programs that prevent other employees from making my mistakes. The Rapid Response Discrimination Hotline has processed 847 complaints in 6 months. Average resolution time, 31 hours. Customer satisfaction with complaint handling, 94%. CEO Edward Harrison's public statement about Flight 447 became the most viewed corporate apology in airline history, garnering 12.3 million views across social platforms. His commitment to transparency reset industry standards for executive accountability. We failed, Mr. Washington, but more importantly, we failed our values, Harrison stated. These reforms ensure that failure never happens again. Maya Rodriguez, the teenager whose live stream documented the original incident, now has 340,000 TikTok followers and has become a prominent voice in anti-discrimination advocacy. Her video from Flight 447 has been viewed 23.4 million times across all platforms. That day showed me how social media can create real accountability, she says during college campus speaking engagements. One person with a camera can change entire corporate policies when they witness injustice. The Transportation Diversity Initiative, where Damon serves as board member, uses his case as the gold standard for corporate discrimination response. The Washington model has been adopted by train companies, bus lines, and cruise operators nationwide. WashCorp's partnership with Delta extends far beyond the original $12.3 million travel contract. The companies now collaborate on diversity consulting services offered to other corporations seeking to implement similar reforms. Damon Washington himself rarely speaks publicly about Flight 447, preferring to let the results speak for themselves. When pressed by reporters, he offers simple wisdom. Real change happens when leaders choose transformation over litigation, education over punishment, and systematic reform over individual revenge. His approach influenced discrimination response across multiple industries. Tech companies, retail chains, and financial institutions now reference the Washington Protocol when developing their own bias prevention programs. The Federal Aviation Administration issued new guidelines encouraging all airlines to adopt Delta-style discrimination prevention measures. The Department of Transportation commended Delta's response as a model for the entire transportation industry. These black stories of quiet dignity transforming corporate America prove that strategic thinking creates more lasting change than angry protests or expensive lawsuits. The moldy bread served in Seat 12A catalyzed a movement that now protects millions of travelers from discrimination. What began as one man's humiliation became an entire industry's education. But the most powerful transformation happened in the hearts and minds of ordinary employees who learned that treating everyone with dignity isn't just company policy, it's basic humanity. The Washington Protocol continues spreading across corporate America, proving that sometimes the most profound changes start with the simplest demand: treat people fairly, regardless of what you assume about their background. These real-life stories of accountability remind us that progress happens when good people refuse to accept discrimination as normal, and leaders choose reform over retaliation. Today, Damon Washington sits in his Chicago office, overlooking the city skyline. On his desk lies a letter from a young black businessman thanking him for making air travel safer for people who look like them. The letter is one of thousands he's received since Flight 447 changed corporate America. Mr. Washington, because of what you did, I flew to my job interview without fear of discrimination. I got the position and now lead a team of 30 people. Your quiet courage created ripples that reached my life. These touching stories arrive daily from across the nation. Travelers who experience equal treatment, employees who feel empowered to report discrimination, companies that proactively reform policies before incidents occur. The Washington Protocol now operates in 847 corporations nationwide. What began as one man's refusal to accept moldy bread has become a movement transforming how American businesses handle bias and discrimination. Maya Rodriguez, now a sophomore at Northwestern University studying journalism and social justice, credits that live stream with shaping her career path. Her documentary about corporate discrimination, featuring the Flight 447 incident, won the National Student Journalism Award. That day taught me that ordinary people can create extraordinary change when they refuse to stay silent, she reflects. Mr. Washington showed me that real power isn't about being loud, it's about being strategic. Delta Airlines has become the gold standard for discrimination prevention in the transportation industry. Their transparency reports, published quarterly, demonstrate measurable progress toward true equality in customer service. The company's stock price has increased 23% since implementing the Washington Protocol, proving that ethical business practices drive profitability as well as social progress. But perhaps the most significant change is cultural. Flight attendants across all airlines now think twice before making assumptions about passengers. Corporate executives understand that discrimination incidents can cost millions in lost revenue and reputation damage. Social media has created accountability that didn't exist before. Damon Washington transformed a moment of humiliation into a legacy of systematic change. He proved that quiet dignity and strategic thinking achieve more than lawsuits or protests. His approach, documented discrimination, clear demands, partnership over punishment, has become the template for discrimination response across multiple industries. These life stories of resilience and reform remind us that progress happens when good people refuse to accept injustice as normal, when leaders choose education over retaliation, when corporations prioritize long-term change over short-term damage control. The moldy bread in seat 12A sparked a revolution in corporate accountability that continues expanding across American business culture. Your voice matters in this ongoing story. Have you witnessed discrimination in corporate settings? In restaurants, retail stores, or service industries? Your experience deserves to be heard and addressed. Share your story in the comments below. Let's continue building accountability together. If this story inspired you, hit that subscribe button for Black Soul Stories. We're not just telling stories. We're documenting the quiet heroes who change systems through strategic action rather than loud confrontation. Share this video with someone who needs to understand that dignity and intelligent response can transform entire industries. Together, we're proving that these real-life stories of courage and accountability create lasting change in corporate America. The next time you witness injustice, remember Damon Washington's example. Document everything. Demand accountability. Create change that benefits everyone. Because sometimes, the most powerful response to discrimination is strategic thinking, not righteous anger. Subscribe to Black Soul Stories for more accounts of quiet strength overcoming systematic injustice.
Sometimes the most powerful revolutions don't come with noise, just one person standing their ground. At Beat Stories, we highlight those moments that shift the balance. If this story moved you, hit subscribe, because every week we bring real stories that shake the system.